What's good, everybody? It's Jonah coming back at you another video. So for this video here, this one is a reminder for virtually everyone out there. And this is to let go of the difficulties from your past, right? Because you are the only one who can create the life you deserve. So it's important to begin letting go of the difficulties of your past, right? It's not necessarily about forgetting your past, but it's actually about making peace with your past, and of course letting go of the difficulties of it, right? Because I'm sure every one of us has had life experiences that were tough or challenging back then, except there's some people who still carry it till this day as baggage. So just literally envision yourself having a the big black hefty trash bag over your shoulder, and you're just carrying it every step of the way. Every step you take, your entire life journey, step after step, you have it, and you've held it over your shoulder for 1, 2, 3 decades, however long it's been. Doesn't that get tiring? Doesn't that get exhausting to have that with you every single time, every step that you take along your journey, to carry that with you? And then anytime someone ever asks you about it, you have to tell them your whole life story, and you have to essentially relive the past every single time. Right? It's not healthy. It's not beneficial to you. Right? Unless you want your past to be your future, which most of us may not want that to be the case, because we always want, unless you had a really great past, right? Many of us may have come from humble beginnings, so generally we want our future to be better than our past, right? If you faced difficulties back then, let it go. Please find a way to make peace to let that go. And I know it can be a challenge for many folks out there because, of course, they know what happened in their past, right? The past is essentially evidence, information, experiences that they've gathered. And they say, hey, Joel, how can I just let it go if this is all evidence of my life experience or what life is? And I told them, it is evidence and information experience that you've picked up along the way, but it doesn't have to reflect the future. It doesn't have to also be what's in store for you, right? You can decide to have what's in store for you be different than what's happened if there were a lot of difficulties that you went through. You can have your future experiences be different than your past. That is possible, right? The past, if you've had negative experience in the past is only reflective of those past thoughts and actions and emotions that you experienced back then. It does not have to have any bearing or any impact on the future, because you can create the future beginning with now. I like to use a simple example. The dating scene for a lot of young folks, right? I hear it all the time with people. They could have had a couple negative experiences with dating, and because of that, they're entirely superstitious, right? They'll say, all the people in this gender is all horrible, and there's no good people that exist. And if you put that thought out and believe it, right, you say it with conviction, that means you believe it, and you put out that energy, then you're just going to continue attracting that experience, right? Because you're saying with conviction because you believe it. As silly as it is, you believe it because it's happened a couple times, so therefore it must be your experience. It must be the truth, right? And so that plays out in the rest of their life. And so if they do ever come across a great person, but that person is unfortunately part of that gender pool that they're just no longer a fan of, then they'll just completely disregard the good person, because they'll just assume that that person is a bad person, right? Hear it all the time, mostly from women. They'll say all guys are bad and things like that. And so they'll say that and believe it, and then also be surprised that they can't find a good person and say, you see, they're all bad because I can't find anyone good. It's like, well, because you're speaking about what you don't want into existence. You're taking your past baggage, saying that you've had prior experiences, so that therefore there's no good people that exist. So if you believe that there's no good people that exist, then you're just not gonna come across any good people that exist. And there can be a great person right in your face, but you'll just believe that this person won't actually be a great person because you believe that they don't exist. So you just summarily dismiss them, right? I've actually had a funny experience too, where um, for me, I don't really care for zodiac signs because I understand that there might be some correlation with zodiac signs and things like that. But at the end of the day, what I believe ultimately, I believe that we as people have complete freedom to decide how we want to live and who we want to be as people, right? Because at any moment, we can change how we operate. At any moment, we can change our attitude. At any moment, we can change our personality for the better, right? We can always grow. We can always improve as people. So even if someone acts a certain way or behaves a certain way, or their personality is a certain way, that doesn't necessarily mean that'll always be the case, right? But for those individuals, seems like it's a lot of women that are very into zodiac signs and compatibility with that. That for a lot of women, it seems as though that is the end all be all, right? Like I've had moments where I would be at a social event and I would meet someone, I would meet a lady, and we would have a great conversation. Like we would just be like just good vibes, good energy. And for me, I'm just there getting to meet people, just having fun, just like asking questions, like getting to know people. And it would be great conversation, great energy, and I would just like her at least as a friend. Like, oh, this is a great person, like energetic, like she's good at holding a conversation, like everything's cool. And then she would ask me for my zodiac sign. And my birthday's in November, middle of November, November 14th. So I'm a Scorpio. And I would say, oh, I'm a Scorpio. And then immediately you would see her entire energy change and say, oh, well, I can't do Scorpios. And that would literally end the conversation and the friendship right there. And I mean, for me, she was doing me a favor because at the end of the day, it's like, if we weren't going to be friends, then, I'm not going to waste my time. Like you did me a favor. But the whole time I was surprised because she went on to say that she had bad experiences with Scorpios and that she was only looking for one specific zodiac sign, that this sign is what's most compatible with her sign. So the whole time I'm thinking about it, I'm like, wait, if there's 12 zodiac signs and you're only looking for one sign, then out of the 100% male pool, you divide that entire pool by 12. So it's only 8% of men. And out of that 8%, you also have probably your own checklist or criteria of the type of guy you're looking for. So, like, the chances are even slimmer now. Is it possible for her to find a match? Sure. But the entire time, I was just confused because it's like, why? I think it's absolutely silly to just completely cut somebody off or disregard somebody because of their zodiac sign, because of some experiences you had with other people that just happened to be that time. I think it's crazy. I mean, some of you that watch video might disagree, but for me, this was one of the sign of someone that had clear baggage or clear insecurities about things that happened to them prior and could have very well had no impact with the situation. But in a case like that, the conversation ended right there because of my zodiac, something that I literally cannot control. Very strange. But this is exactly what I'm talking about, right? It can be situations that happen prior that some people just hold on to it and they can't let it go and they haven't made peace with it, and it prevents them from moving forward. Because who knows? It's like, in that situation that involved me, is like, we could have ended up being great friends at the bare minimum. We could have ended up being great friends, right? And we could have shared experiences, or like we could have learned from one another. But that got thrown out of the window over a silly zodiac sign, right? Even though, once again, a sign has no bearing on how someone will be as a person, right? Because people can always change, people can always improve, people can decide how they want to operate. What does a sign have to do with anything, right? But it's baggage like that. It's superstition like that that can really get in the way of someone, that can prevent someone from moving forward. And most people don't see it, or they don't reflect or choose to change, right? Because some people say, well, all of these prior experiences shaped who I am today, and the person that I am today is because of these prior experiences. So what you're saying is that there is essentially an infinite loop, right? You're acting this way because of all these experiences. No, all these experiences led to who you are, and you acting the way you are because of these experiences. So what you're saying is you don't plan on changing. What you're saying is you want your future to remain like your past, because you're gonna stay this way because of all these experiences you've had. The experiences that you had back then was probably just your set of circumstances. And just like all circumstances, they're always subject to change. Your circumstances are not a life sentence. And sometimes you may have to go through those bumps along the road, right? Sometimes you might have to experience what you don't want so that you can know what it is that you do want, right? It's the same with trying new foods. You might it's you're most likely not going to like every food that you try and eat. However, when you try the foods that you don't like, it helps you realize the foods that you do like. It's hard for you to know the foods that you do like if you've never tried a food that you didn't like, right? If I had really, really, really sour candy, I can tell the difference between an extremely sour candy and a sweet candy because I know what sour tastes like. I can tell when something is really hot because I know what something really cold feels like. That's the same with life experiences, right? We are blessed to experience contrast. We are blessed to experience the entire spectrum, if you will, right? Of things that we label both good and bad. Because if we experience bad things, that helps us. Bad things aren't ever actually bad, because one, we're assign meaning to it, and we're the ones that put it in a bucket of it being bad. Like, an event isn't good or bad, it just is. It just is. It happened. And we're the ones that typically label it as good or bad. But even then, even if something is quote unquote bad, it doesn't actually have to be bad, because that bad event can just be contrast. It can just be it not being a desirable experience. You say, you know what? This wasn't desirable. This is what I want. Most people don't look at it that way. Most people, if we go back to the dating scene, if they've had some undesirable or negative experiences with the type of partner, rather than saying, these things happen to me, this is what I want, and this is what I'm looking for in a partner, they say, these bad things happen to me, and so only this event happens. So they're only focused on what they don't want. They're never focused on what they do want. And this is the baggage that I'm talking about. These are the difficulties in life. People look at at the struggle and say, this is a struggle I faced. These are my struggles. It's like, okay, you went through it. You experienced it. Now, what is it that you want out of life? How do you want your life to be? Let's focus on that, right? If you had negative experiences with dating, what is it that you now want in a partner? What do you want that partner to be like? How do you want them to operate? How do you want them to be personality wise, habits? How do you want them to treat you, right? And when you think about how you want them to be, you'll get excited. You'll be smiling. You'll be focused on that, because now you've created the image of the dream person you want, rather than just focus on all the negative qualities that you've experienced in having a partner and saying, okay, everyone in the dating scene is bad. That's not helping you find a partner. It's not. And that's how we need to begin looking at life. We have a spectrum of things we like and the things we don't like. If there's things that we experienced in our life that we didn't like, that's good. We can now say, okay, what do I want to now happen? What do I want my life to now look like? What is it that I now want to experience? That's how you begin to let go of the difficulties of your past and begin creating the future that you want, because once again, you are the only one who can create the life that you deserve. So stop spending so much time thinking about and talking about what you don't want and all these negative experiences, and begin focusing on the life that you want to live and the things that you want to unfold for you. That is how you get rid of the baggage. That's how you get rid of the hefty trash bag over your shoulder. That's just how you cleanse your energy and get rid of energy blockages. That's how you begin creating your dream life moving forward. So that wraps up the video. If you enjoyed the video, do leave a like and subscribe, as we are on the road to 50 subscribers. So I want to say thank you if you made it this far in this video, right? All your support is greatly appreciated. So once again, guys, this is Joel, and I'm out. See you guys in the next video.